So our next speaker, I believe she's on the call. I'm looking up there. Yes, there she is Tammy Call. And Tammy, I met once when I attended a webinar being offered by someone else, and Tammy was also presenting on that call, and I fell in love with her. Tammy is a strategic marketing coach and business mentor, and her company is Breakthrough to Brilliance. So just from the name of your company, Tammy, I think people want to work with you. And you're calling in from Arizona, just south of Phoenix in Gilbert. So welcome.
Thank you. And I don't know if I did this right. I prepared something sort of interactive to demonstrate how awesome your book is, Jackie, and why everybody needs it. So we'll see how this goes. But I didn't know I was supposed to bring a story about my dad, but I'll start with that because I too had a dad who he was an engineer for Hughes Aircraft in the early 50s and 60s. And when I was about 4 years old, he bought a motel down by the Los Angeles airport. And I'm an only child. If I'm honest, I think if I were a boy, or like if I'd had a brother, he would have focused on him and maybe not paid as much attention to me, but I was the only alternative. So I got to go in and like make reservations. I'd answer the phone and they had this, you know, it was back before computers, and they had this thing. It had all the dates across the top and all the motel rooms across the side, and you could write on it. It was like plastic. You could write on with what would be the equivalent of expo markers, and you'd push a button and it would zoom into the future, so you could write dates. And we wrote all the reservations on this giant table. And it was when the phones, you know, you'd answer the phone and say, what room would you like, and pull out the big cable and stick it in a, I'm really dating myself. But yeah, and when he was working engineering job, I remember being really young, and my bedroom was near the garage. I could hear the garage open, but in order to get there, I had to run like down a hall and out the garage. And there were so many mornings when I would hear him leave, and I would go running all the way out the house. And sometimes I would catch him, but a lot of times I would, you know, just see him driving down the road. And it would just, it's even now, you know, it messes me up to think about not being able to say goodbye to him in the morning. And after about 4 or 5 years with owning the motel, he retired from Hughes Aircraft and came home, and he was there all the time. And we would go, and we'd go 2-week vacations of water skiing, or, you know, take a trip to Europe. That's what you can do when you only have one kid. Sometimes I wish I only had one kid. But, you know, we spent all of this really memorable and important family time together because he was an entrepreneur, because he decided to not be employed and to work from home for the most part and be there. And I've just, because I was raised that way, I'm such a believer in entrepreneurship. I had a client last year who wanted me to do some marketing with him for working with nonprofits, and we did 2 or 3 clients, and I said, this is way too bureaucratic and overthought. And I love the you know, the agility of fast decision making and ability to change direction. And so I've read tons of, well, you can't see them all, but I've got lots of books, and most of them are in another room, but lots of books on entrepreneurship and step-by-step stuff and how to do it. And I also have an MBA, and I really appreciated how you didn't miss anything, right? The financial perspective, and this is the thing I wanted to do a little interaction on, improve why you need it. So I should probably just quit crying and do that part. But you bring in a lot of the financial perspective and say, you know, do this now. Here's your worksheet. Don't skip it. That a lot of other books leave out, because I think people, you know, we have this fear thing about money. We don't want to go there. I just want to build a business and not look at the numbers, you know? And your book is like, no, smart women make wise choices, one of which is looking at the numbers and the data all the way through. So let's see, I have 7 minutes technically. Do I? Oh, I'm actually ahead of schedule. So let's play my game and see what happens. Is that fair? Everybody? Okay, so everybody who's here needs to get in the text. You should be happy you weren't sleeping in the garage. The only thing worse than men in this meeting. Oh, that's something else. Okay. Anyway. Anyway, there's interesting things in the text. So jump in the text because I'm going to ask some questions and I need you to respond. And Jackie, you can play too if you're in the text. So, or not in the text, in the chat. Yep. Sorry. It appears at the bottom. You click on chat. Okay, so first question, because I know there's some of us who've spoken and there's others who haven't. What kind of business are you in? I want to know who's here. Oh, good. I love games. Nice. What kind of business are you in? And make sure that you're responding to everyone when you respond. So I might say I'm in marketing coaching, retired. Okay, well, what business were you in? I can see not everybody's in here. We'll see how this is going to work or not. Let's try another one. How many years have you been in business? Publishing, coaching, speaking. Here we go. Okay, thank you. I can work with this. How many years were you in, or have you been in that business? Or if you're retired, how many years were you in that business? I'm 20, 10, 20 years manufacturing retail. Yeah, I had some things I could love to have you manufacture. Nonprofit, 10 years. Okay, cool. So we're gonna, this is a money thing. Normally I would talk about marketing, but we're gonna do money today just for fun. How happy are you with your current level of income on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10's like, whoa, I couldn't be doing any better, and 1 is just like that. Sad face emoji. Yeah, see, I'm like a 4, 5, 10, nice. That's your income, not your rating of me today, right? Just kidding. Okay, so we got a range of 4 to 10 there. Yes or no, would you like to charge more? See, even I'm playing this. Yes. Sophia says yes. Anybody else playing? You can say no if you don't want to charge more. All right, down to me. Oh, there we go. Another yes. I'm a volunteer. Well, would you like to charge for volunteer work you're doing? Would that make it better? Okay, well, for volunteering, this next question isn't going to work for you. But this is just a mental exercise. You're not going to put any numbers in the chat. Okay, so think of your highest ticket offer and what you have most recently been able to charge for that, and then double it. So volunteering, you're doubling your 0. But so if you have a coaching program and it's 10,000, you're turning it to 20,000. If you're doing $250 an hour, you're charging $500 an hour. Okay, now sit with that number for a little bit. And what feelings or thoughts come up? You can list both. And I'm playing in here. I'm going to go queasy, doubtful. I'm worth it, but will anyone pay it? Okay, okay. Anybody else? What would I do without you, girl? Okay, I ask these questions because a lot of the time, oh, there's one. I hope I'm not charging too much, right? We have all these, especially as women, you know, can I really charge that? If I charge it, will someone pay it? Yes, I'm worth it, but, and there's this whole mental gymnastics that we do around money. And the thing that I love, Jackie, about your book is that it gives us tools to validate decisions. We're not just left out here with these feelings. We have some tools that we can use to validate our pricing and money goals. For example, turning to page 43. One thing you can do is profile your competition, right? You got a whole worksheet. This is a book where you got to do stuff, right?
Right.
And one of the great things on here, right, is who are they, what are their services or products, their messages of distribution, their image, what's their pricing structure, right? So I'm worth it, but will anyone pay it? Well, what if you look at your competition and they're charging more for the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it justifies, like, oh, I don't have to feel queasy or weird or hesitant. Like, there's evidence, right? So have you done this? Right? That's what the book asks. This is the stuff I like. Like I said, Jackie, I usually talk about marketing stuff, but I went straight for the money because I think it's so important that you put it in here. So what's your competition doing? Do they charge more or less than you? Second, Jackie recommends on page 53. Aha. Target market worksheet. Who are my customers? What's the first thing? Right? What is their economic level and income range? Right? Sometimes we, as when we sit in a vacuum and go, I'm going to start a coaching business. I'll charge like $1,000 a month. That sounds good. Okay. What is everybody else charging? Oh, $1,500 a month, $2,500 for 90 days. You know, there's all these things out there. So what's the competition doing? And depending on who my tribe is, who I'm trying to attract, what I'm offering, can they afford it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and if I do the research like Jackie's book recommends, and I find if I target the right people, then they can afford it. Ooh, I am worth it. And yes, they will pay it. If you do like, oh, was it Kim? I think Kim was talking about getting into action, right?
Right.
Get into action. Do look for evidence, get into action. That gives you more information. So you might find out they're charging too little. And then I loved this because I didn't think about this really at all when I started my business. This is what Jackie says about pricing. I'm quoting you. Is that okay? May I quote you? May I read
Yes.
from your book? Okay, 63. Determining prices. This is one of the most challenging aspects of beginning a new business and honestly just growing any business. The research involved in pricing your product or service should be extremely thorough, not based on a feeling. The book doesn't say that. I just added it, but you would agree, right? Not just feelings. Okay.
Right.
Although all aspects of planning your business are critical, calculating the price of your product or service can be the determining factor as to whether you have a viable business concept or not. The task of pricing is a combination of your findings in market research and costing. But it doesn't say feelings. Does that not count? No. Okay, remember the price you charge, and this is what I loved, must take into consideration the costs you have to cover in the total operation of your business. Too often, entrepreneurs only take the cost of the actual product or the obvious expenses in providing a service. Well, it doesn't cost me any time to coach anybody, right? If I do 4 hours a month and I charge $1,000, then like it's all profit, right? No, because I'm not thinking of how much is my internet service and my cell phone and my printer and the new laptop that I bought. And it's so easy, especially in soft skills delivery, to just skip this. This was the clincher for me though. Remember, even if you are doing the labor at the startup point, calculate the cost of paying labor into your cost of goods. And I thought, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and it has never ever occurred to me to look at my pricing and say, based on my volume, how much more would I need to do volume wise, or how much more would I need to raise my prices if I had somebody else do all the garbage that I don't want to be doing, or that would free me up to go and do more business. And so, you know, what if your future growth goals require you to charge more? Again, so I did all this. Honestly, one of my lowest grades in MBA school was in finance class. I can do it, but I still go the touchy-feely route because I have like a guy who's working from home in the other room who pays all my bills. But yeah, there were so many just great financial side of things in here that if we just do what you've said to do in the book, we don't have to sit around going, oh, well, I'm nervous, or maybe I should, or maybe I shouldn't. It's like, just do the research, just do what Jackie's book said and do the worksheets and see what the market tells you to do, right? So I just really appreciated that you bring it just down to earth and talk about the stuff that so many books leave out. And I think Kim said you could use it with clients, and I think Missy said the same thing. Julia, maybe, I lost track. I didn't take notes, but yeah, I could totally take this and buy it for a client and say, I'm not talking to you until you bring me, you know, pages 54 and 55 completely filled out, and then we can do something. So
That's a great idea.
way to go. I highly recommend Smart Women, Wise Choices by Jackie Ray Sigipsy.